Man, this could. This I don't want this. I don't want to spend too much time on any one thing. And I only really brought this because you know me. I don't. I like talking about topics that could go into a deeper conversation. We can actually like have an in depth conversation. I don't just like to bring in topics about like in this day in hip hop or this week in hip hop. But this is kind of like a special case that I kind of want to dissect just because there's so many elements I don't fully understand. So we talked about this brother recently, somewhat recently, not in relation to really anything specific that he's about, but really wasn't about him to begin with. But he took part in the one chip challenge, but he didn't. He made a homeless brother do it,
Oh,
and
this dude.
and again, I didn't really bring that up to reflect on his actions, but just more so the danger of the chip and how people are using it. But I think whether you focus on what he did or not, I think his actions you start to build a perception of this young brother in your mind. So if you don't know, this is Ti and Tiny's son, King Harris, 19 years old. He's relatively young. You gotta give the youth a little grace. Um, and
Do
this
you?
kind of what'd you say?
I said, do you?
I try to. I try to at least.
I don't know
Um,
if this brother deserves grace after that video, but
all the youth need a little bit of it, just a little bit of it. So there has been some level of trend of him garnering negative attention due to his actions, his behavior, what he's saying, even some of the particular lifestyle choices, which I don't know why we focus on that much, like his aesthetic decisions to be made. But this seemed to be kind of like a breaking point, and like this guy's like out of it. This young brother needs some like hard like guidance, or else he's gonna like go off the deep end. So this actually happened a while ago. I think even like he posted November 26th. So this has happened just for some context, and to some we don't know what happened aftermath, but we pray and hope that they had some level of resolution to this. But it's not gonna stop us from talking about what actually happened. So, and I'll even give you a little bit more context. It's not super relevant, but what happened after this, like during this day, we just saw at first we just saw like go to like the second to last slide even before we see the videos. We just see him post this stuff. He posted, "I stand on business. I don't give a f who you are," and he says, "I don't give a f who you are. I can't play, can't play with me in my face. Not going for the these brothers are from the south, so you gotta interpret like you from the south. I'm not going. I'm a grown ass man now. What else did he say? No, to the right. He said, if I'm a mistake, say that. Stop making the world think you F with me when you don't. So he posted these, and like all people do when they got something to get off their chest in this day of social media, they just post to the gram. They don't really give context. They're just throwing subs. So we don't know what's going on. Then we get a little bit of context once the other footage comes out. So now let's take it back to the beginning.
Have you ever woke up with a roach on your face?
Here. No, that's not the goal.
All right, then. So there it goes.
Or in your ear.
I don't know what you're
Or
talking
in
about.
your ear. In the neighborhood with me that broke up with roach.
Roach in your ear?
Y'all want to go to the bando and man my neighborhood? Do y'all want to go to the bando? Do y'all want to go to the bando? To make him look better, he said he know not true. Silver spoon, I ain't never ate with that day a day in my life.
Nigga, you did
I'm
have
out.
a silver spoon.
Look, Sid used to have to come to my grandma's house because I'm getting in the
You
fight.
cried like a baby to go to your grandmama's
Every
house.
day.
You used to hold your breath
Every
and
day.
throw tantrums to go over there.
Neighborhood. I don't want to be in these gates. I want to be outside in the neighborhood. That's why I want to be over there. But they don't understand
Yo,
that.
I'm going to tell you the reason why he want to be over there. Y'all ready?
What was the reason?
Because he can suck and pacify over there. He was 12 years old.
Let's suck
He
that
was
back.
sucking pacify.
Man, can you believe there's actually more? So as you start to get some interaction, he's going back and forth with his little mom and dad, and who I don't need to remind everyone who Tiny and Ti are like one of the biggest people in music. Like anybody that's even in the proximity of them didn't have to struggle. But according to his story, he did receive some level. He did experience some level of struggle. Like you said, he was in a neighborhood where he didn't have roaches, but somebody in the neighborhood had roaches. So he's
crazy.
just kind of bucking up against his parents. He has a different iteration of his life growing up according to theirs. And, we do see this time to time. We know it's not uncommon for parents to have not a recollection, but an idea of the how good our lifestyles were in comparison to how we view it. Let's see how it progresses. Spoiler: it progresses for the worst.
He's 12 years old. He didn't do that in the house.
He cried like a baby. Hold his breath.
Yeah.
They trying to say I was over there trying to sucker past it, but they ain't gonna tell you everything like that. They trying to hide it.
Ain't nobody hiding that.
Sugarcoat it. He capping. He capping.
Hey,
He know I stand on
you
business.
got your car in
He know
reverse,
that.
sir.
Can't no nigga ever pull my car ever in life. I stand on business. You drop me somewhere, I stand on business. You drop me in your hood, I stand on
I don't
business.
feel like you stand on business. He
Yeah.
said, I'm telling you, stand on
I've been
business.
stood on business.
One word fit.
I've been stood on business. You want to hide it for the world? I'm going to put it out there for them to see.
Hey, man, I ain't.
I wasn't put up nowhere. You ain't had me put up nowhere. Like, you ain't had me behind the mansion. I was outside doing what I wanted to do.
You was behind that till you cried.
No, ain't got too much to drink. Done drunk too much. Drunk too much. Let's go.
Ooh, so it's getting a bit more rebellious, a little more rowdy. Again, contradiction in stories.
You
Let's see
gotta
how
watch all of these. Oh Lord.
you gotta get all the context so you can form a proper opinion. Keep going. Wait, did I get the wrong one? No, keep going.
You capping.
Hey, you're upset. You're mad.
You
You're mad,
capping.
sir.
You capping. I know. You capping. I know you capping. I know you. I know you. I know you.
Shut up. Shut
I
up.
know you
Ain't no
though.
mystery about his
I know you though. I know you though.
Listen carefully to this part, by the way.
I know you though. I know you. What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business. You know I stand on business. Why you even letting
He's on Instagram Live, by the way.
Why you letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting him play with me like that? Why you letting him play with me like that? No, ain't no joking. Ain't no joking. What do you mean?
You are embarrassing yourself and your family,
No,
nigga. You embarrassing yourself.
Get off me.
You are embarrassing
Get off me.
yourself.
Get off me.
You are embarrassing yourself.
Man, get off me.
Hey, what is you
Man,
talking
get
about?
off me, nigga. Like,
Well,
man, get off me, nigga.
well, you can't do nothing with me. Shit you can do with me.
If you had a father or father figure in your life, you heard those words before. But again, to try to
What?
bridge, to, maybe I'm speaking for maybe I'm speaking too. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, to break it down, like I was saying,
Oh man.
maybe I should have said if you had like a really old school or southern father figure. Anyway, to break it down, it started off with a conversation about differing in the way they viewed the upbringing, and it devolved into year capping and eventually a small. We don't know the full details, and when people on the phones get into these scuffles, we can't really see the details. But one thing I know, if I could have heard that from a mile away, I can tell what's going on when a dad says you can't do nothing with me, boy. So yeah, we don't gotta get. If you guys need more context, I can obviously provide it. But essentially, when I see
You
this,
silly.
it really gets not just me. It really gets the mind wondering. What is the obsession? I don't know if that's the right word to say, but like, why do you think a person who's experienced privilege would want to be known from coming from the struggle? Because I think that's what it really boils down to. Like, even if we take this, what he's saying, like, and being super charitable, and saying, he was, behaving in a way that resulted in him being sent away to other houses or other homes, or whatever the case may be. This brother was afforded privilege that like less than 1% of people in the probably the whole world ever experience. But it seems like they have this need to hold on to, hey, I came from where I came from. He's talking about bandos. He's talking about being adjacent to people that were struggling. He's talking about I never had the silver spoon, and all those things could be true. But what is the need to like? Do you guys understand why this person would want to cling to it? If that makes sense.
Mm.
Um, we'll start with you, CJ. What do you think of when you see this, and why do you think people tend to want to hold on to that struggle life?
I definitely hear him trying to claim his own identity outside
Mm,
of him trying to be in his own top shadow as far as, you know, son of T.I. But, I definitely hear his parents sound like, they don't like him talking too much either. So all of that looks super unnecessary and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, I just hear him trying to, claim rights to his own identity. When you first asked that question, the first thing my mind went to is why do Disney Channel stars want to be, Hollywood stars later, or whatever the fact.
mm,
But I feel like a lot of people, what I'm saying, in these these influencers and stuff like that, they want their own identity. They play a part for so long, and then later they like, hey, okay, that part, maybe that part is getting played out or getting old, or maybe they can't stand in that same shadow anymore. So
and
they're looking.
you would say that need for identity could even result in wanting an identity that's not anything to be wholly proud of.
Definitely backlash against his pops like that. Like, what I'm saying? Whether his pops, was fully 100% there or not, Uh, I feel like because he's literally T.I.'s son, that's what the first thing you're going to relate him to. Like, Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, like, it's hard to get out of such shadows.
Yeah.
But for him, he's not really doing nothing, industry wise for television or whatever the fact. So I feel like,
What you
you
mean?
know,
He's rapping. He's a rapper.
oh, is he? My bad. Sorry.
Uh,
Just for a real quick side, there's Ti has a son that's a rapper that's not bad though,
what do you mean
right?
bad?
Am I
Hold
not
up.
bugging?
No, you hold up.
No,
Not
there's
What do you
bad.
mean? What do you mean
hold
He said
on.
bad?
not bad.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, pretty sure he has a son. I remember the first
He
Yes,
has
he
video.
has a
7 kids, so
son,
one of them bound to
This
be
is
a rapper.
not him.
and they
Surely.
no, and they're also in
Okay.
they're also in the
Okay.
world of music. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know
Hmm.
what you mean by
See,
not bad. I don't know if you want to clear that up or
I don't know.
elaborate,
He
but
dropped a track, and
struggle.
I was like,
Look,
"This
look,
is not half bad at
look.
all."
Struggling identities right there. You see, Ti has a whole
oh, you
bunch of
mean the
sons.
music isn't bad?
The music,
Mm.
yeah,
Oh, okay. There you go.
Mhm.
Got you. Got you. My
yeah, no, the
apologies.
music.
Um, my bad. Did you have anything else on that, CJ?
Oh, no, I'm saying, see, so there you go. You got Ti. We has a son that's actually making good music, and then another Ti son that's struggling making good music.
Well,
I mean,
not struggling per
hey,
se.
bro, these SoundCloud views and
I imagine
streams
he's
don't count.
making. Yeah, I imagine he's. Yeah, I mean, I imagine making music that kids want. I imagine
I'll give credit for
like
a
that.
TMZ following more than a music following because these how you count streams is not, I don't think, fair to
Mm.
the music game right now. Streams making people famous necessarily when you didn't even put out albums still. But yeah, don't listen to me. Continue.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Ace? When you see this, like, what do you make of it, and why do you think that people feel the need to want that to be known for that struggle life?
Um, yeah, I think it's just there's it's got to be something about trying to fit in with his peers because
Mm, that shows
I
suspect.
yeah, because I feel like I felt that to some extent when I was younger.
You want to be
Um,
known from being from the band though?
yeah, I mean, I
Come
didn't
on.
necessarily want to. I did. I didn't want to be disassociated from my own people. I think is what it is, and growing up in a place that was predominantly white, I did start to feel that more and more well, like as I got into the junior high and high school age.
Mm.
Um, so like it's not the same as what he's doing, but it was similar where I wanted to start dressing a certain way, maybe start
Oh,
like
keeping it real.
speaking a certain way in some capacity, um, in order to feel like I had that connection. Um, and I grew out of it eventually, and started to become more comfortable with myself and who I was just with my whole history and my what my parents have done to give me the opportunities that that I have. But yeah, I definitely experienced it to some extent, and I think that probably applies to him. Yeah, I think it's just as
Hmm.
simple.
That's actually a super interesting perspective to hear, and like not coming from like your perspective of necessarily who you want to be, who you like. You don't want to be associated with gangsters or somebody that's struggling, but the
Right.
want to be associated with your own peers could
Yeah. Yeah.
could I don't want to say overstep, but it could be a real thing. That's interesting. What about you, Ghost? What do you make of this? Surely you can understand why a person, not you specifically, but you come on, you give him some grace, right?
Um, I don't know why you said me specifically, unless I'm missing something, but I I mean he's wildin', but I think I understand
Because
it
you're the
because for
youngest here.
one, yeah, like I think CJ made a good point in that he's trying to create his own identity. I think there might be some element of peer pressure that goes along with this, and he wants to be like his peers. I'm not trying to get inside his mind. I don't know what his thought process is, but I think a big chunk of it is probably the fact that like when he kept bringing up like he's standing on business and he's his own man now. I think like he's associating this lifestyle with being a man and with being
Mmm.
independent and
Speak
like
about it.
just like he kept repeating stand on business over and over, which I mean, could be overusing phrases and all that, but essentially like he's
What,
trying
you
to
don't stand on
show
business? Sorry.
Stop.
I use it sometimes, but he uses it like, come on, that was a little much. But like he's I think so desperate to prove to either himself or his parents. Like I really think that in his mind, he truly believes that he did not grow up with a silver spoon and he struggled and he has friends that grew up a certain way. Cause I mean, I think that I don't want to say he's right, but trying to think there was a certain way I wanted to phrase it, kind of slipped my mind, but he's he doesn't know any better. I think that's a better way to put it. Like he truly doesn't know what it's like to struggle. Like when the adults ask him, like, you know what it's like to grow up with roaches on your face, because they've been through that. They know what it's like, and
Right.
he doesn't. It's so foreign to him. Like he's saying, okay, yeah, I'm sure you went through that, but what I went through is just as bad or it's similar. Where again, he doesn't know, and that's part of being young. In that, I mean, I'm still relatively young, especially compared to y'all, but
Ah,
it's
a little shade.
I know better than I did when I was his age. He's 19 for all y'all are wondering, but I know better now than I did when his age. Like what some of the thought processes that I had, and I was never really like I kind of always knew that I didn't know as much as I thought I did. It's kind of a paradox, but you really don't know how much you don't know until you learn. And it's just part of getting older, get more experience. So again, I think in his mind, he really truly believes that the way he grew up is indicative of him being hard, and that's why he's kind of gravitated toward this life. And there's really no way for him to learn otherwise because he didn't grow up in a certain way to know the difference, and he's just gonna have to learn probably the hard way, be it something physical or just through age. But
I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
you saw T.I. yoke him up like that.
I didn't see much to be honest. That's another. Why is this on live? Like, I don't know if Time is recording this,
Because we
but
live in a social
we
media
don't need to show
era.
this
No, this
shit,
is his
bro.
live, I think.
Yeah.
It was
Wait,
on live.
is he record? No, someone else was recording because they turned around the camera on themselves.
That was Tiny taking his phone.
Oh,
Yeah, he was on
okay,
live
all
when
right.
it
I was
started.
confused. So I
Yeah,
guess
this is
he's
his live.
all right. I thought the parents were recording, so he's on live. Okay, got it. But
He's trying to show
yeah,
everybody
I
that he's
mean,
staying on business, even in front of his pops. He's a whole
yeah, and I
legend.
think
We're
Yeah.
gonna just reverse it past that.
like this Ti choking him out isn't really going to do anything because in his mind he's in the right, his parents in the wrong, and he's not going to back down. Even if
You don't think a
Ti
ass whooping might change his mind?
not, I mean, I think it would take a real ass whooping, like getting. And I'm not wishing this on him, but I'm just
No, we're not
being
doing it
real,
here.
like
I'm just
I think
hypothetically.
just it would take like him getting really physically hurt in a way that your parents aren't going to do that to you. If they're good parents, like they, and not that I'm condoning it, but he put his hands on him just to like show him a little taste, but that probably isn't going to do anything for him. Is really going to take someone just eating the shit. Like, again, I'm not saying that I want this at all, but
We
that's
got it.
really
We all
realistically what
know.
it's gonna take.
You know what the scripture said about
Unless,
us, a stiff necked people.
yeah, like unless you really feel that fear of like, damn, I'm really getting my ass beat right
I
now.
might die.
And there's
He
if you
said
don't
that
have
won't
that
nothing.
fear
He
in
said
you,
that
like,
could take
damn,
nothing.
this person might not stop.
He
It's you
said
can't.
that ain't even hurt.
Yep. It's just there's really no way to replicate that, and I don't think that can come from a parent, or it should not come from a parent. It really shouldn't come from anywhere, but that's just some people learn the hard way, and I don't. I'm not trying to suggest anything that would solve this, but I can understand his mindset, and not that I agree with it at all, because I think he's absolutely wilding, but
He's fearless.
Now we're definitely not trying to solve this equation to help this brother specifically. Although I wouldn't mind just sort of sit down, try to get into his mind. I think you guys are actually giving some really good insight on just like the mind of like why a person would want to engage or not even put facade, but you know, really want to be from the hood and want to have their own identity and some of the things you guys are saying. I think if you understand that, at least maybe if you come to a point in your life where you're dealing with a young person that's having these kind of reactions, I think you might be able to like break it down to them better because they might just be moving based off. Hey,
yeah.
I actually feel like I'm in the right. And yes, we all know the difficulties of talking to a young boy, but I think understanding it gets you better than just like not. My opinion.
I don't know. I don't think this is, even if you do, you can explain it to them. I really don't think this is something that you can just
Or
talk to any
even
kid about that's in this mindset. I think it's really has to be, they have to learn it for themselves by living life, which is sad. But
I don't necessarily agree. I think you can have.
I don't know. There might be some
You can use
exceptions.
conversation to get through some people, but
Maybe.
even if your goal is not necessarily to help like get them in a clearer state of mind, you having the understanding of why they could be acting like this, I think it might put you more at peace or more solace.
Yeah, that I think it would help as a parent to just know that they're not just trying to like purposely disrespect you just for the sake of being bad. Like there's reasoning behind it, not that it's logical, but that it would help. But it's just that's why parenting is so difficult, because sometimes there's nothing that you can explain it as best as you can. You can as you can do all you can from your end, but sometimes it just won't make a difference, and it has to be from the kid,
life lessons.
Yeah, just learn it through living life. So
yeah. Hey man, that's why we try to have so many conversations on this podcast. So we are just a little bit, if it's not just a small percentage, closer to being able to deal with some of these situations. But before we move on, what about you? Did you have any other words or thoughts regarding like why somebody would want to like cling on to uh, certain identities that they didn't necessarily experience when they came from a bit of privilege?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ti was in a delicate situation, and everybody who's famous is in a delicate situation. Famous or wealthy, rich, wealthy, whatever. In raising their kids because uh, there's the opportunity for those kids to be really bad people, a higher opportunity in a way, in different ways than other kids. And I think that in a way, like, and I mean, I agree as far as like him trying to claim an identity because, especially in our teenage years. Um, but I think that we need to, like, for kids who are privileged, I think a little bit of a little bit of a message of, yeah, you're privileged. You're different because of the background that you have, and you're not necessarily going to be able to relate to everybody in the same way, but you still need to be a good person, and to teach them how to be a good person in their new position, which is not the same position that Ti was in. Like, people with the first generation of money, they they don't necessarily have the tools because they don't understand what it's like to grow up without with money. And
Yeah.
so it's like there has to be some type of education where you know there where it's also okay to say I'm different, I'm privileged, and I have to uphold a certain standard of living based on that. Say I'm a whatever, I'm a Harris, and we gonna dignify it, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and I don't need to identify with people in the I had a bad life, or just lying, or trying to, because it's insulting in a way to
Hmm.
people who have lived that life. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't know half, but you're talking all this stuff and putting on this persona, and maybe there's people who are fooled, but it's not sustainable, and it's not a good lifestyle. And then on the other hand, too, he has a double battle of being Ti, and his kid knowing that Ti is Ti, and
Hmm.
how he got famous, and what he, the content of his music, and the struggle that he went through, and all that. It's all part of his life. So if Ti were to establish, like, if he were to establish his kid with the same type of mindset of somebody who, I don't know, was an investment banker, or somebody who got rich in a different way, then the kid might say, nah, you're being a hypocrite. There's things that he would have to overcome. So yeah, he was in a tricky place raising kids in general.
Hmm.
um, and even the company he keeps, the other um, the other celebrities that he's around, and all this stuff, like, they all have you know a similar story or similar backgrounds, which again make it harder to uh, a certain type of life. And then so, like, in a way, it's rap culture. Like,
Facts.
if you want to say, like, that everybody feels they have to have that grittiness to their story, or else they're not legitimate, or else they can't participate. And I think that needs to be uh that needs to be either, I don't know if I would say it necessarily, yeah, it needs to be addressed in a way. I think people need to realize, and not only that, that's not the only way, and that there's a wide variety of subgenres of hip hop, and that you don't need uh, to necessarily take the same route of the struggle and all that,
Yeah.
and glorify anything negative, obviously. But but I think that's a big piece of it too.
Yeah. No, you raised an excellent point. Coming from the, not in any wise demeaning or offensive way, but coming from like the shadows or just from the seat of Ti, it's like you kind of want to embrace some of what Ti might have went through as well. Um, yeah. Again, and ultimately, I'm not here to solve this young man's troubles. Again, I What'd you say?
Oh no, I was laughing at that. We got deep into homie. I
Yeah.
think we could have been his counselor on this one.
But
You would not have listened to us.
yeah.
No, he
If he's
wouldn't
not
have. He
listening
wouldn't
to
have.
literal Ti,
He
he's not
wouldn't
listening to us. He
It's
gonna
so
see.
hilarious too.
He's gonna
like,
say he's gonna say I stand on business. Y'all don't know nothing about me. And keep pushing.
to think about it too. And this is what annoys me about kids, young people in general. Like Ti is your father. Like I mean, I don't know the extent of the story and his son and everything, but this is your father and mother standing in front of you, and you're telling them you stand on business.
What do you mean? That's what it means to stand on business. You don't truly stand on business if you can't stand on business in front of your parents.
I was like, what are you talking about? I know you. Like, what are you
That's what they're saying. We know you. We know. That's what they're
talking
literally what they're saying.
What are you telling me that I to assert to me? Like, that's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's
But
Ti.
and that's why yeah, and that's why again, it's a marginal amount. I do give young people a bit of grace because kind of that's what you're saying, Ghost. There's like they really don't get it. It's just like a wall between their brain and reality. So you just gotta, and then you have to also think about it in terms of like, okay, he's this bad right now, and he does need some work. But imagine if he was like 30 acting like this. Holy. But yeah, salute to Ti, whole legend, whole king of the South, whatever you want to say. But it does suck a lot of this. It's like I don't want to say anything corny. It's like the Matrix. It's like it sucks when things go viral when like if they were handled on a more family private level, like that's how things should go. But then what will we talk about? Hey man, I would love to come out here and present all positive stories. But
I feel like all celebrity kids go through it in their own kind of psychological way.
Yeah.
yeah,
And just as far as trying to get their identity, because look, Jaden Smith went through the same stuff. Everybody's like, "Yo, this dude's weird. Like, what's wrong with him?"
You went through it in a different way, but yeah.
But yeah, in a different way. But that's what I'm saying. But they all go through. Hannah Montana went through her weird phase. Like, they all kind of just go through this phase where it's just like they're trying to find themselves, but also trying to prove themselves too. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
But hey, that's them.
okay. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the next and pretty much the last topic.